Now, my SEAFIRE was flown at 2 separate nationals, and it was the most complex single-engine plane probably that I have ever built. It had so many unique special features, it's hard to even make a list without leaving some out. It had some molded parts, manifolds. It had a steerable tail wheel, a molded carbon fiber tail hook, a lot of prototypical parts, a very complex prototypical paint job. It had cannons that were removable. It had composite landing gear. It had a lot of things that on first view you don't really see. But to go back a little bit in the story, and this is in '96 that I was building Spitfires with Joe, and I decided the SEAFIRE would be the next one. We had to make a dedicated canopy mold for the SEAFIRE. It was a bubble canopy, later model, actually a later model Spitfire, carrier based. Now I was inspired when I saw the sliding canopy. This is Keith Trossel's Martin Baker. The canopy slid open so you could see all the cockpit details. And it took me many hours to make a version of Keith's sliding canopy and do the cockpit detailing that's on the SEAFIRE, which is probably the most complex ever. The cannons were a big job to make, just looking at some of the detail. But the sliding canopy, again, was the feature. You could fly with the canopy open or shut. There was one Allen screw held it open or shut. The pilot was highly detailed. All of the things in the cockpit, the instruments and all of the things, I tried to make that as scale as I possibly could. Even the yoke, which is a very unique thing to that of Spitfire or a SEAFIRE. And when I lined it up in appearance judging, I was really excited to see how many people would even notice that it was a sliding canopy. Well, I guess the judges did, I'm not sure. But there were so many beautiful planes, and every one of them had unique features. But the SEAFIRE really, in my way of thinking, just stood out in a crowd. It was just hard to ignore the fact that it had so many things going on. A steerable tail wheel, not that that's a big deal, and a Raby rudder. It had, and again, the cannons, the unique paintwork, the manifolds for the engine are molded from epoxy. Custom made one-of-a-kind spinner from a mold with this almost scale 080 screws holding it on. It had a lot of things, just a lot of things. And there were so many planes here. Again, Billy Warridge's P-47 sticks out in my mind as one of the really beautiful ones. Cosmonato had a beautiful plane here this year. And I'm not selecting anybody out, but there were a lot of great planes. And I wanted to put a couple of minutes of the concourse judging here and the prop, all the detailing on the prop, and of course Billy's model, super detailed too, and every one of the models that year. And I just remember them being just a banner year for beautiful planes. But again, it's always the little details that push it right up over the edge. And I was so happy that I had spent all the time I did on the details of this model, every detail. And as I'm looking back, I think how many people spent time at my house. Cosmonato did in 1990. How many people I had spent time at their house. Billy Warridge, of course, one of them, among others. Richard Oliver. Just so many people in the world of stunt share their lives and generously. And Chris McMillan, there's Chris McMillan's jet. He spent quite a day, actually lived in my house for quite a long time. And we enjoyed each other's company. He was an airline pilot. He was going for some kind of training in New York City. We did a lot of flying during the time. He built a lot of this plane in my cellar at the time. And we shared a lot of fun times together. Chris, and he had a lot of stories, just like me, that go way back into the world of stunt. And things you never forget. You go to a national, and it's not important what national, and you're out right at the end of the day. And I always remember the last day of practice before the official flights, and all the concourse judging is done and all of that stuff. And now it's time to ante up to the bar and get some flights in and some practice. And we always used to have this funny little thing among friends. Who's going to get the last flight? And I'm not sure who got the last flight this day, but this was Just people I remember. Yeah, one more. Yeah, I can get one more flight in here. Just, God, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I can still see the horizon. I can still see this. I can still see that. But it's true. And that's one of the really neat things about going to the National. But after duking it out for the last flight of the day, it was time. And I have an official national flight of the SEAFIRE on this video I'd like to share. And I hope you do enjoy it and enjoy these memories of days gone by. the SEAFIRE lives in my Spitfire bedroom in the attic of my house, right near the big old gauge train layout. Les McDonald made a very interesting comment recently. We were going back and forth in email, and he says, your models look like the day you retired them. And I guess that's a giant compliment, Les. Thank you. But what's inspiring about this whole thing is how many people were part of, from starting with Keith Trussell inspiring me to do that canopy, Big Jim doing the engine, and that engine runs on those Tiger 60s are legendary. Joe Adamusco, among other people that were just as, you couldn't imagine how much fun Joe and I had over the years. I think between us we built 8 or 9 Spitfires and SEAFIREs, and Midgley for molding up the bubble canopy. Thanks everybody. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, and that helps the channel in a way that it's hard to describe, but YouTube does appreciate when people hit the like button. And we're going to have more videos coming soon. I have recently come upon a bunch of discs that I think I can pull footage out of. And thank you to everybody that's made nice comments on the channel or made suggestions. And thank you, Warren Walker, for starting us down this path. And most of all, thanks everyone for watching.